So I saw Knives Out and had a good time. It definitely delivered on what it was trying to do. I'm talking about, of course, the new Knives Out, Glass Onion. The first one was, I think, better. I would say I definitely enjoyed that one a little bit more, but this one was still fun. And there was, again, a lot of similar stuff to that first one. Definitely nailed the murder mystery aspect, and I could totally see this being a series that lasts for a very long time. Although if it is, I hope it's still at least, with Rian Johnson having a hand in it, if it's not just him, writing and directing all of them, which he wrote and directed this one, as did he write and direct the last one, and did a very good job both times at surprising me, at genuinely coming up with unique ways to make stuff happen. Now, the first one, if you didn't see, was kind of unique because it almost turned your traditional murder mystery on its head. It told you who the murderer was, at least as so you think, and it makes you like the murderer. The murderer is the hero of the movie, and so it almost makes you think, okay, at a certain point, this is going to go south. I don't want it to go south, but these movies always end with the, detective, Daniel Craig in this case, seeing who the killer is and, being in a crowd of people saying, I know that it's you, kind of thing, right? So that's kind of what made this work. This one, not that way. This was a traditional murder mystery of what's going to happen, and it was a very good one. I really enjoyed it. It still had some surprises. It still, I think, and at times went away from what you would expect to happen. And of course, you can't get too far into the weeds there talking about it pre-spoilers, because I will get into spoilers a little bit later on in this video. But one of the things that I think both of these movies did very well, and I think this movie actually did better, was the cast of characters. All these quirky characters, which that's always what makes these murder mysteries work, right? You want to have these different, unique characters so that way you can tell them apart and you can play along at home who is, the one who's going to do bad stuff type of thing. And there's a lot of very fun characters. Basically, the movie starts with a very good scene to start, right? Because you have them trying to solve something. So you have an immediate goal that these characters are trying to solve. They're doing it over the phone. And you also get to see how they interact. So you have this conflict of seeing them, interact in different ways, how the different characters go through different aspects of this game, trying to open the box. And once they open the box, it's an invitation to a murder mystery party. And that's kind of how the movie starts. So we're, the cast of friends, also Daniel Craig and Janelle Monáe, who I actually have to say might have been my favorite actor in this movie, which I was not expecting, because there's some really good actors in this movie, but I thought she was fantastic, and she had some really good subtleties in her performance that I thought really worked. So, as a whole, there was a lot to really like about this movie, and again, if you like murder mysteries, this one's right up your alley. This one might even be more up your alley than the last one was, because it is more of just a murder mystery, and it does make you think that, you can keep making these as long as you can keep coming up with ideas and ways to come up with these twists and things like that. And there were some really clever things in here. There were also some not so clever things, and I'll talk about it more in spoilers, but there's one major plot hole that I've heard people bring up. I actually didn't notice it live, so if I don't notice it watching it, doesn't impact my, thought on the movie, but it does kind of impact when I think back on it, oh yeah, there was that pretty major plot hole. So, a couple other things that didn't fully work for me. I have some nitpicks with kind of the story, because again, story is what ends up mattering here. I thought, it was directed fine. I wasn't blown away or anything like that. It felt like just it felt like a murder mystery movie, which is the goal, right? That's what you're going for. But really funly written, which is kind of what made it work. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. And now I'll get into spoilers, give you a second to click off if you don't want to watch it. If you don't want to watch the end of this video because you want to watch the movie first, totally understand. But okay, spoilers talk, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, basically, I should probably start off with the main plot hole I teased earlier, which is, so again, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't care about spoilers and that's why you're still here, there was, the way it worked was they were each sent a box, right? And Janelle Monáe was sent a box, and what we know about her is that she is Daniel Craig's, or excuse me, she is Edward Norton's, ex. So they were married and then no longer married, but he still sent her the box because I guess they still care about each other. Okay, fine, makes sense. We find out later on that Edward Norton character was the one who killed Janelle Monáe. So that's what happened, and then it was Janelle Monáe's sister who took her place. That's what we find out later. But why did Edward Norton still send a box to her house then if he was planning on killing her? Or was it the box already in the mail when he went over to kill her? What was the deal there? Why that decision did not really make a lot of sense. Now, they do kind of set up that Edward Norton is not the smartest guy, so maybe you could excuse it. It didn't ruin the movie for me or anything. I'm not a huge, oh, well, there's a plot hole, so actually this movie sucks. Like, at the end of the day, movies are about getting you to feel some way. Yes, you would like it to not have plot holes, but if it has a plot hole, that's fine. There were a couple other minor things, like, towards the end of the movie, Janelle Monáe is trying to get everyone else to turn on Edward Norton and say, hey, you all saw that napkin that showed me, that showed that I was the one who came up with, the technology that we got rich off of. And they said, no, we didn't see it. And then Janelle Monáe destroys everything in the house and burns it up. And then everyone leaves the house and say, you know what, actually, we are going to turn on Edward Norton now. I didn't really fully get that. I didn't really fully get why that is. The best thing, my girlfriend had her thought was that maybe it was just because they're opportunistic, and because now that Edward Norton doesn't have as much stuff, then, that's why that's why they're turning on him. I didn't really fully feel like that was communicated, though. So it didn't work for me. That part didn't work for me. But again, film is subjective. If it worked for you, it worked for you. But yeah, that was definitely something that confused me. But that being said, I can talk about the negatives all I want, but some of these positives were just awesome. Like, some of these stuff is just very clever. The Janelle Monáe being a twin, not something we've never seen before, but it's still, I feel like, surprises me every single time. That's something that will always get me, is a good twin twist. And the way it worked was definitely great, because you see that, she destroyed the box. And so you immediately think, okay, she can't be the one who sent Daniel Craig his box, because, one of the people sent Daniel Craig a box. It was thought of as a prank at the time, and it could not have been her. But then, because it was a deliberate plan to get back at Edward Norton, that's why she gave him the box. Really good way of kind of subverting expectations in a way, and making us already rule out one person, and then having that one person be the one who gives Edward Norton the box. Maybe if you watch a ton of murder mysteries, you would have been on board there and figured that out. I did not. It worked for me. That stuff was very fun. And again, Janelle Monáe, the way she played the second character. Of the first character is, you think it's like the stoic woman, but the second character you find out is actually very drunk the whole time. Like, she doesn't know how to, doesn't drink, but accidentally drank a bunch of alcohol, and so was just like hammered the whole time. And there were some little subtleties you noticed before, but then later on makes a lot more sense as to why she was acting the way she was acting. So that was really well done. They didn't overdo it, but they gave you just enough to make you realize, oh, that's why it worked. Again, maybe a little bit of criticism of, they definitely did a lot of telling, not showing at times. They kind of told and showed with like voiceover over it. You could have maybe cut back on that a little bit. The reality is, I think this movie in general could have been cut down to under 2 hours. It was about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Probably could have been an hour 45. You could have found ways to cut enough out there. But again, it's always tough. Where do you cut out? And the reality is, it didn't feel long. I had a lot of fun watching it throughout. So, I'm not mad at it necessarily, but those are maybe some minor critiques, which is why it doesn't get like a 5 out of 5. But again, very fun movie. Had a blast watching it, and it's definitely something that, like, if you want to take your family to, this is the movie to take your family to. This is one that definitely works out well. So yeah, I don't think I have any more final thoughts on it. So that is my thought on this movie. What did you guys think? Have you seen Glass Onion? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.